The wind howled through the narrow streets of Rome as the evening sky darkened, casting eerie shadows over St. Peter's Square. The Vatican stood silent, a beacon of faith now clouded in uncertainty. In a hospital chamber nearby, Pope Francis lay motionless, his breath shallow, his body frail. The world watched in anxious anticipation, waiting for the inevitable. News anchors from across the globe filled the screens, their voices hushed but urgent. The Vatican has released a statement confirming that Pope Francis remains in critical condition. His Holiness is suffering from mild kidney failure and is under constant medical care, one reporter announced solemnly. But the air was thick with something else, an unease that reached beyond the walls of the Vatican. It was not just about the Pope's condition. It was something greater, something unseen yet deeply felt. Miles away, in the dim glow of a candlelit room, I knelt in prayer, my hands trembling. The Spirit had stirred within me early that morning, calling me to listen, to be still, to receive what was coming. And then, as if a veil had been lifted, I heard it, the voice, clear and unwavering, speaking from the depths of the unseen. Children, why do you allow the enemy to tear you apart? The Holy Spirit's voice resonated within me, firm yet sorrowful. Why do you fight each other when the real war is against the one who seeks to destroy you? A wave of emotion crashed over me as the truth struck deep. I had seen it with my own eyes, the division, the chaos, the bitterness among believers. While the world focused on the Pope's declining health, something far more sinister lurked beneath the surface. The devil has entered your homes, your churches, your nations, and you do not even see it. Tears welled in my eyes as the revelation sank in. The world was distracted, blind to the deception taking root. We were not prepared for what was about to unfold. I tell you now, stop. The voice commanded, filled with urgency. Stop the bitterness. Stop the accusations. Stop tearing each other down. Do you not know that every time you speak against your brother, you do the devil's work? A deep silence followed. The weight of those words pressed against my chest. The truth was unbearable, yet undeniable. The church was no longer a unified body. It was fragmented, weakened by pride and division. And the enemy, he was laughing. As the world awaited the Pope's fate, the streets of Rome were filled with whispers. Some prayed fervently for his recovery, their rosaries clutched tightly in desperate hands. Others, with hardened hearts, saw his decline as a sign of judgment, refusing to utter a single prayer for him. The divide was growing, and no one saw the strings being pulled from the shadows. The Vatican itself was no exception. Behind closed doors, meetings were being held in hushed tones. Plans were being whispered, decisions made. The world would soon see a transformation that would shake the very foundation of the church. For decades, rumors had swirled about the final pope. Prophecies foretold that he would be the last before an age of great deception. And now, as Pope Francis clung to life, many asked the same question: what happens next? Would there be another pope? Would a successor be chosen? Or was this truly the beginning of the end? The night was restless. I turned on the television, and there it was, the breaking news. Cardinal Timothy Dolan, standing solemnly before St. Patrick's Cathedral, his voice heavy with grief. Our Holy Father, Pope Francis, is in very, very fragile health and probably close to death. The words hung in the air like an omen. A shift was coming. I felt it deep in my spirit. I fell to my knees once more, desperate for clarity, for guidance. The voice returned, more urgent this time. The time of casual faith is ending, it warned. God is about to test the hearts of every believer. Only those deeply rooted in his truth will stand. A chill ran through me. The days of lukewarm Christianity were over. The days of deception had begun. The morning light was weak, struggling against the thick clouds that hung over Rome. The Vatican doors remained tightly shut, but inside, preparations were already underway. Discussions of succession were being held behind locked doors. Names were being whispered in corridors. But something felt different. The world had seen many popes come and go, yet this transition carried a weight unlike any before. This was not just about selecting a new leader. It was about something much bigger, something unseen, something orchestrated. A figure would rise, not just another pope, someone with power, someone with influence, someone who would not come with a sword but with words smooth as honey, with promises of unity, of peace, of bringing all religions together under one roof. And many, so many, would celebrate him, never realizing the truth. I gasped as the revelation unfolded before me. This was the beginning of the great falling away. As the world prepared for the Vatican's next move, something else was brewing. It was not just about religion. Governments were shifting. Economies trembled. World leaders whispered in secrecy. Everything was aligning, pieces moving into place for what was to come. The voice returned, soft but firm. The moment Pope Francis is no longer in power, the final stages of the one-world religion will accelerate. I swallowed hard. I had heard of such things before, of closed-door meetings, of secret gatherings between leaders of different faiths. But now, those meetings would no longer be hidden. They would come into the open. They would be embraced. And the people would welcome it, blind to the deception. I shuddered. The warning had been clear. Those who were unprepared would fall. Those who had not strengthened their faith would be swept away. I took a deep breath, staring out the window as the city below moved in restless anticipation. Time was running out. The question was no longer if, but when. The deception that was coming would be unlike anything the world had ever seen. And only those who had oil in their lamps would be ready. I turned back to the television. The news anchor's voice wavered as he read the latest statement from the Vatican. My heart pounded. The world was about to change, and there was no turning back.